Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into a topic straight out of legend and lore, something that holds immense power and a dark secret, the Oni Masks. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar, we're talking about artifacts from the incredible world of Jackie Chan adventures, a universe just filled with ancient magic and these thrilling escapades. And thanks to the fantastic source material you shared with us, especially from the Jackie Chan Adventures wiki, we're going to peel back the layers on these powerful and, frankly, pretty terrifying magical artifacts.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how these objects aren't just like props in the story. They're absolutely central to a major narrative. They embody this complex history, specific rules, and, well, profound consequences for anyone who encounters them. They really drive that entire season's plot.
Right, so our mission today is to understand not just what these masks are, but their ancient origins, the unique abilities and perils they confer, and of course the thrilling, high-stakes journey to control their power. So let's start at the very beginning. How did these formidable masks even come into existence? Where did they come from?
Well, the Oni masks were forged way back in ancient Japan by these benevolent good chi wizards. Chi, in this universe, it's this fundamental mystical energy, right?
The life force.
Exactly. And these wizards used it to create the masks with one single crucial purpose: to imprison the spirits of Tarakudo, who is the king of the Shadow Khan, and his 9 Oni generals. And each general, by the way, commanded their own pretty formidable tribe of Shadow Khan.
Wow, okay. That's quite an ambitious magical containment project then. So the idea was to trap all 10 major villains.
That was the plan, yeah. But Tarakudo, being the cunning king of the Shadow Khan, well, he wasn't entirely subdued. He actually managed to confiscate his own mask, the 10th one, the one specifically meant for him. And he shrewdly concealed it in the Shadow Realm. His thinking was, it's the one place no mortal would dare enter.
Clever. And what about the other 9 masks, the ones for the generals? If they were such powerful prisons, how were they handled to prevent, further trouble?
Good question. So, to ensure the Oni generals could never rise to power again, the remaining 9 masks were deliberately scattered, like to the 4 corners of the globe. But the crucial detail here, the thing that becomes so important later, was that conjoining all 9 masks in one single location was the precise key to releasing the imprisoned Oni generals.
Okay, so a very specific but incredibly risky sort of contingency.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have these ancient masks designed to trap demons. One gets away, the others are scattered. Centuries later, what happens if an unsuspecting person actually puts one of these things on? What are the immediate effects?
Right. Well, when attached to a host's face, an Oni mask partially transforms its wearer into an Oni, like instantly. This grants them immediate superhuman strength, durability, and reflexes. Think power boost equivalent to wielding the Tiger Talisman.
Okay, that's serious strength.
Yeah. And maybe most significantly, they gain the ability to summon the specific tribe of Shadow Khan belonging to that particular Oni general.
Wow, okay, that sounds like an incredible power-up. But with magic this dark, there's always a big, terrifying catch, isn't there? And it can't just be about gaining power.
You hit it right there. This raises that important question: what's the true cost? See, the mask projects this malevolent essence. It slowly causes the wearer to succumb to their darker impulses and ultimately to be consumed by the demon psyche of the respective Oni general. It's a gradual takeover. And while this process might speed up if the wearer already has, evil traits, it inevitably happens to anyone who wears it for too long. It's a classic Faustian bargain, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The power comes with a hefty price, your very soul, basically.
Really?
So some people might be more susceptible to this corruption than others, depending on their existing disposition.
Precisely. The source material mentions individuals of lesser intelligence, like animals. Remember Scruffy, the dog who briefly wore one?
Oh, yeah?
They succumb much quicker. But then you have those who inherently possess extreme goodness, like Captain Black. He seemed to be more resistant, at least for a time.
But only for a time.
Right. Even that resistance weakens if they frequently use the mask's powers, or interestingly, if they put the mask on with selfish intentions in the first place.
And it seems this resistance is less potent for children. Both Jade and Paco succumbed faster than Captain Black did.
Huh. That's interesting. It really highlights how deeply the mask works on your psyche, not just your body.
It does.
So, are there any loopholes? Or maybe partial ways to use the power without suffering the full corruptive influence?
There are a few interesting cases, yeah. Like donning only part of a mask seems to reduce the corruptive influence. It lets the wearer maintain their inherent self on any part of their face not covered by the mask. Okay, so partial protection.
And then there was that one memorable instance, remember Finn? He accidentally sat on a mask and it fused to his rear end.
Hmm? Yeah, I remember that.
In that case, his personality stayed uncorrupted, though his body movements could be controlled by the mask. So maybe placement really matters.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is that not everyone had to literally wear these masks to harness their power, right?
Yep.
Some powerful figures found other ways.
Indeed. Characters like Shendu and Daelan Wang, they demonstrated that it's possible to harness the power of an Oni mask without physically wearing it. Basically, they could summon Shadow Khan without being personally corrupted.
How did they manage that?
Well, through their own considerable magical abilities. Also, there was the Mark of Terrakudo that also granted the summoning ability, but it came at the cost of turning the wearer into this blue-skinned Shadow Khan-esque demon.
Yeah,
So definitely indirect avenues, but with their own costs.
gotcha. Okay, speaking of their appearance, how do these masks actually look? Are they all identical or are they distinct?
Oh, they're definitely distinct. Each Oni mask was uniquely crafted in the likeness of the specific Oni general it was meant to imprison.
Mm-hmm.
They typically look like these fierce demonic creatures from Japanese folklore, often horned, wide open mouths, showing teeth and these prominent curved fangs.
Right. Definitely not something you'd want to find in your attic, like you said.
Not at all.
So centuries pass. Then the hunt for these masks begins again. What kicks things off? What sets this whole saga in motion in modern times?
Well, the central story arc really kicks off when Daelan Wang, this disenchanted dark chi master,
Hmm.
he's trying a spell to summon the Shadow Khan, but he messes it up badly.
Okay.
And he inadvertently summons Terrakudo himself.
Oh, wow. Out of imprisonment.
Well, Terrakudo was never imprisoned in a mask, remember? He was just sort of elsewhere. But the spell brings him forth, and suddenly free, Terrakudo is intent on returning to full power. His goal, release his imprisoned Oni generals.
By getting the masks.
Exactly, by having their respective Oni masks retrieved. And the ultimate terrifying idea is summoning enough Shadow Khan to engulf the earth in eternal darkness.
Standard villain stuff then.
Yeah.
World domination via darkness.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the first mask found, it ends up on a rather unexpected initial victim. Kind of sets the tone, doesn't it?
It really does. The very first mask, hidden for like 9 centuries in the ruins of Shendu's palace, it gets mistakenly placed on Chao's face, partially transforms him, grants him the summoning ability. Total accident.
Right. And then Ratson, too.
Yeah, later on, another mask accidentally lands right on Ratson's face at a museum in Tokyo. It's just messy business finding these things.
Definitely seems that way. So once one of these terrifying things is attached to someone,
Yeah.
how do you even get it off? It sounds like it's not as simple as just pulling it away.
Oh, definitely not. Removing an Oni mask from its wearer requires performing a specific, pretty arcane mask removal spell. And here's the tricky part. Each mask needs its own unique key ingredient for the spell to actually work. That's in addition to standard components like, lizard scale, wolfsbane, sulfur root, eye of newt, that kind of stuff.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution at all.
Not even close.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like a massive arcane scavenger hunt. Just finding the right ingredient sounds tough, let alone the masks themselves.
Yeah.
How do the heroes even begin to figure out the right ingredients and the mask locations?
This is where the Hanafuda cards come in.
Okay.
This magical deck of cards, also forged by the Good Chai wizards, probably around the same time as the masks, is specifically designed to reveal both the precise location of each Oni mask and identify its respective unique removal ingredient.
A magical cheat sheet.
Essentially, yeah. The cards operate in groups of 3. One reveals the mask's identity, the second its location, and the third its removal ingredient. And importantly, they can only be used once per mask.
Got it. Very useful, but limited. So, with the help of these cards, the heroes successfully locate and obtain all 9 masks for the generals. You'd think that would be a good thing, right?
Oh.
Mission accomplished. All the evil artifacts secured. End of story.
Well, if only it were that simple. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it leads to this critical, totally unintended consequence. While attempting to secure all 9 masks in the vault at Section 13,
Yeah.
the heroes unknowingly conjoin them. They put them all together in one location.
Oh, no. Don't
Yeah.
talk about
This results in the destruction of the masks themselves, but paradoxically, the simultaneous release of all 9 Oni generals who were imprisoned within them.
Wow. So the very act of collecting them, of succeeding, led to the disaster.
That's a classic narrative twist.
It really is. Success breeding failure.
So the generals are free. What then? Were the old spells, the ones used to create the masks, completely useless now that the masks themselves were gone? Precisely. That's exactly the problem. With the masks the original containers destroyed, Uncle clarifies that the ancient spells used to imprison the Oni just wouldn't work anymore, and the Oni generals, they immediately start summoning their respective tribes of Shadowkhan, picking up right where Tarakudo left off, ready to fulfill his plan, engulf the earth in eternal darkness.
Man, the stakes couldn't have been higher at that point.
Absolutely not.
But there's one last desperate hope, isn't there? That fabled 10th mask, the one Tarakudo himself had hidden away.
Exactly. The Hanafuda cards, surprisingly, reveal the existence of this 10th and final Oni mask, the one originally intended to imprison Tarakudo himself, the very one he hid centuries ago in the Shadow Realm.
So they had to go get it.
They did. And upon successfully retrieving Tarakudo's mask, Uncle devises this powerful new spell, a spell designed to imprison all 10 Oni Tarakudo and his 9 generals within that single ultimate mask.
One mask to rule them all, essentially.
Kinda, yeah. And the final showdown sees Jade, with just incredible bravery, manage to sneak up on Tarakudo and slap the mask right onto his face,
Yes.
effectively defeating Tarakudo and his Oni generals once and for all. A truly epic conclusion.
Absolutely. Phew. Okay, beyond that main narrative, there's some really fascinating specific details and maybe some clever Easter eggs about these masks, aren't there? Little bits of trivia.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, lots of cool little things. For instance, a fun linguistic detail.
Hmm?
Most of the Oni general names, they directly relate to the color of their respective masks.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like Murasaki for purple, Kiro for yellow, Midori for green, Orenji for orange, Kuro for black. Get the idea.
That's neat.
Yeah, only Tarakudo and Ikazuki are exceptions to this clever naming scheme. Though, funnily enough, Rairaku means lilac, but its mask was crimson. Go figure.
Huh. Okay. And the designs themselves, you mentioned they were unique, but were there other clever things about them, maybe hinting at the wearers?
Yeah, it seems so. The designs for some masks, like the Murasaki mask, the Kiro mask, and the Mosuguran mask, they seem to be at least partially inspired by the individuals that ended up wearing them.
Like how?
Well, for example, the Murasaki mask partially resembles Ratso, the Mosuguran mask kind of resembles Hakufu, and the Kiro mask, hilariously, even partially resembles a dog, which,
Fits perfectly with Scruffy wearing it. That's a great touch. Adds to the whole lore.
it really does.
It also seems like every rule surrounding these masks had some interesting nuance or exception. Made the hero's journey even more unpredictable, right?
That's definitely true. Like, of the masks that were actually worn, roughly half were removed by Jackie Chan himself, but the other half were removed by the wearers themselves in unique ways, which shows some surprising agency, maybe desperation.
Interesting.
Also, while most masks revealed their spell ingredients for removal via the Hanafuda cards, 2 of them, Ikazuki's and Aka's masks, did not, just adding another layer of challenge for the heroes.
Always keeping them on their toes.
And famously, that Oni mask discovered at Ninja Twilight. It's the only one not to be worn by anyone in the show. Just sort of there, a bit of an outlier.
All these little details really add up. What a deep dive into ancient magic, dark powers, and the incredible, often unexpected consequences of unlocking them. It really shows how intricate and well thought out this whole universe is.
It's a perfect example, really, of how a singular object or set of objects can become the nexus for an entire conflict. It demonstrates that complex balance between creation and destruction, imprisonment and release. The original intent was benevolent.
Right, trapping demons.
But the path to controlling that kind of power was just fraught with peril and all these unforeseen twists.
So what does this all mean for you, our well-informed listener? We've explored how these Oni masks offered immense power, sure, but at a terrible price of corruption. Corruption for the wearer and potentially for the whole world around them. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely raises an important question, I think. When you encounter something that promises great power or maybe significant change, whether it's in a fictional story like this or maybe even in your own life, how might you discern the hidden costs or those unforeseen corruptions that could come with it? Even if the initial intentions seem good, sometimes the very solution can create a whole new problem.
Absolutely. Something to ponder as you go about your day, perhaps without accidentally sitting on any ancient demonic artifacts. Thanks for diving deep with us.